There aren't a lot of opportunities for a kid growing up in the South Bronx, especially if you don't speak English. For most of my childhood, my family struggled to find a stable home. At times, we didn't even know where we would spend the night. Once, when I was a baby, we even slept in the train station. My mother only had one bottle of milk, and my little brother and I had to split it. We moved a lot, first around the city and eventually to the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, before coming back to New York. See, my mom was really the only constant in my life. She single-handedly raised 5 kids working as a hairstylist. Every day was a constant struggle for her. She had multiple jobs and worked at least 12 hours a day. She'd be at work when I went to bed, and when I woke up, she was already gone. I rarely saw her, but she never got discouraged. She never gave up. Every morning, she would wake up and do it again. We lived in a rough neighborhood in the South Bronx, drugs, gangs, violence everywhere. And I got mugged and beaten up several times. See, I was an easy target, that new kid who dressed differently and didn't speak English, so I rarely left the house. I felt so isolated and alone until one day, my little brother came running home with a little cardboard chess set from the dollar store. He was so excited he dragged me to the park where the old timers always played chess. That was the first time I felt like I belonged. See, they took me in and accepted me for who I was. And as a way to escape the negative influences around me, chess was really my first language and how I connected with the world. My first year playing, I lost every single game. But I was relentless. I studied every move and I practiced constantly. And I got good. So good that I became one of the top players in the state. There was just one problem. I didn't really speak English and had failed every class except math and gym. At one point, I even wanted to drop out of school just to play chess in the park. See, I didn't care about school until I met my man, John Rory. He walked in my ninth grade English class and told us about the CollegeBound initiative and how his sole purpose was to help us get into college. I was stunned. See, John was the first successful man of color I have ever met, and he impressed me. He was tall and handsome and dressed in a suit. He looked like success, but he also looked like me. And I began to think that I could be like him. I started hanging around in his office, and we became friends. In many ways, he was like a father to me. We shoot paper balls in the trash and talk about football. One day, he asked me about my plans for college. See, at home, college never really came up. Most people I knew had never even gone. John was the first to mention college to me, but more importantly, he was the first to believe that I could make it. He helped me realize that I was good enough, that I could accomplish so much more. But what really motivated me was my visit to Skidmore College. John took us on a tour, and as soon as I set foot on campus, I knew this was it. See, unlike the South Bronx, there was grass and trees, and people there had a sense of purpose. That's when I decided that I was going to do whatever it took to go to Skidmore. I told my mom about my plan. That path never existed for her. She didn't even have a chance to graduate middle school, but she understood the power of education. So college became our dream. I wanted to make her proud. She had fought so hard and made so many sacrifices. I gained the strength from her example, and like her, I fought every single day to get better. I wasn't the smartest kid, but I worked harder than anyone else. I spent hours doing homework, locking myself in my room and studying until my English improved and my grades got better. When it came time to apply to college, John was there every step of the way. He helped me fill out applications, write my essays, apply for financial aid, and get scholarships. After I applied to Skidmore College, I told my mom to keep an eye out for the big envelope because that meant I got in. I came home one day and she was shouting, "Juan, the big one is here." She was shaking with excitement. I opened the envelope and it held a beautiful black folder that read, "Creative Thought Matters." I opened the folder and read the first words, "Congratulations," and I just threw it up in the air and I started jumping on my bed. Then my mom saw the tuition and said, "I'm sorry, Juan. I can't afford to send you to school." But then I told her, John helped me get a scholarship. Out of $220,000, I would only have to pay $8,000 total. She was so excited, she started jumping on the bed with me. Skidmore College was everything I would hope it'd be. I learned so much and experienced the world outside of the South Bronx. I had sworn I'd never go back after high school. While I was there at Skidmore, I realized I wanted to spend my life helping kids. I thought about my mother, how she raised me and the values she instilled in me. And I remembered what John told me about responsibility and how individual success wasn't enough. So after graduating, I came back to New York and started a chess program at Eastside Community High School. I pledged in our first year that team will go to nationals and win first place. That year we went to nationals and we tied for first place, our very first time. Things were going so well and the program grew. But when budget cuts hit our school and they had to make layoffs, I decided it was time to pursue my master's degree. I went to City College full-time at night, and during the day, I worked full-time as a special education teacher at the same high school in the South Bronx I went to as a kid. I wanted to go back and help kids grow up like me, but didn't have the positive influence and mentors like John. For most of my students, this is their last chance. As a society, most of us have already given up on them. Not only are they low-income students from the South Bronx, but they have special needs and some with severe disabilities. Teaching my kids is extremely challenging. It's a struggle to get them to believe they even have a future and that they can succeed, because for too long, they've been told otherwise. Just like John was there to guide me and inspire me when there was no one else, I'm there for my students. And when I tell them that I went to the same school, that I came from the same streets, they listen because they know and understand their struggles and that I can relate to them. And the fact that I graduated makes them realize they can too. I stand here today as their advocate, and I am proud to say that I've been a special education teacher for 5 years. But this is just the beginning. I want to help even more kids, so I plan on getting my second master's in educational administration. My mom couldn't be here today. She's in the Dominican Republic right now, struggling to rebuild her home after losing it to Hurricane Matthew. But I know that if she was here, she'd be so proud. And John, thank you for opening the door for me. You were like the father I never had. You pushed me and believed in me. And just like you taught me, I'm holding the doors open for others and helping them through, one student at a time. Thank you.